Hearing reports of a frustrating practice is not what you want to hear when the Buckeyes are a few short weeks away from beginning their quest to win a national championship.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes, for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is a Monday, August 14th in the year 2023, and this episode is brought to you by our good friends at LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. During today's episode, we will get to know the newest member of Ohio State's 2024 recruiting class, and Ryan Day moved the day of his presser. Are we close to learning and figuring out who QB1 is going to be at Ohio State in 2023? But first, a frustrating practice this time of year is not the end of the world. However, a frustrating practice does make you think, are the Buckeyes going to be a well-oiled machine on September 2nd, or are we going to see signs of a team that is a work in progress? And I think you're going to find a little bit more of the latter during week one of the upcoming season, because Ohio State's going to have new starting quarterback, 3 new starting offensive linemen. You're going to have 1 new starting defensive end, a couple guys at D tackle who are really talented, but getting on the field consistently for the first time in the upcoming week one matchup against the Indiana Hoosiers. You want to have guys in the secondary, some guys that have played, maybe not together, and you're going to find a team that's a work in progress. But this thought about a frustrating practice is not the end of the world. You're going to have frustrating practices this time of year. They had some in the spring. You're going to have some week 4. You're going to have some during the bye week. Why? It's just the nature of the beast. But then there are times you get a frustrating practice and you get a leader on the team who speaks up during that time period and says, quote, "In 2.5 weeks, we've got to beat somebody at their place," end quote. That was the voice. So that came from Emeka Egbuka, starting wide receiver for your Ohio State Buckeyes. And that was to the team after the team failed to complete numerous screen passes. Now, I did not hear, and I heard this on multiple reports, I believe the podcast and their reaction to the practice, they had it on their podcast, and then 11 Warriors, and I believe Dan Hope wrote this article in regards to things that were observed during the practice. A couple of counts, and both of them were saying the Buckeyes offense was struggling to do some of the simple things that the offense needs to do. Neither one of those accounts said, was it because of the defense? Was it because of things the defense was doing that caused the offense to have numerous incompletions on a screen pass? So I heard the offensive point of view from a couple outlets, did not hear the defensive point of view. But what do we get? A frustrating practice. Guys, it's not the end of the world. And honestly, I'd rather you get all the frustrating practices out right now than have them happen the day before the game against the Wolverines, or the day before the game against Penn State, or the Wednesday of the game against the Wisconsin Badgers as a frustrating practice where nothing is going well. Coaches are frustrated. I almost said ripping clipboards, but they probably don't use clipboards, or if they do, they might not be thinking about or even doing it. I say ripping clipboards because I literally witnessed a coach my sophomore year of high school rip a clipboard in half with his own bare hands right before halftime because somebody forgot to go out for the field goal team. Literally, true story. I may go in depth about that a little bit later on, get some more context to that thought. But a frustrating practice is not the end of the world. It's also a sign that things aren't going well, but then also in these moments, things do go well. And over the weekend, there were a couple guys that lost their black stripes and officially became Ohio State Buckeyes. One of them was offensive lineman Luke Montgomery, standing at 6'4", 302 pounds, number 51. incoming freshman. And then another one's a transfer, number 95, Tywone Malone, 6'4", 303 pounds. Those two individuals are the four players to officially lose their black stripes and officially become a Buckeye during fall camp. The other two are Vic Cutler, another transfer, and then Jimmy Simmons, another transfer as well. Jimmy Simmons, speaking of him, there was a report that the guys that were tackles with the first team unit over the weekend were Jimmy Simmons at left tackle, Joshua Fryer at right tackle. When Ryan Roberts was on the show, my guy from NFL Draft Scouting, he was doing a little preview and predictions for next year's NFL Draft. We're talking about Joshua Fryer. He discussed the differences between left tackle versus right tackle, not just the importance, but really just kind of what makes it the guy to be more of a left tackle versus a right tackle. And even before that, I predicted put Joshua Fryer at right tackle. It just makes a lot of sense for him. He's been at the right side for a long time. Mine was more schematics and mechanics of the position. It's a whole lot. If you'd been on the right side, buddy, shifting to left, the footwork, the hips, the shoulders, the hands, it can be a difficult transition for a few people, which is part of the reason why I said keep Joshua Fryer at right tackle. Jimmy Simmons at left tackle, that's probably going to be more of what we're going to see down the road. We also learned that the first team unit during the first practice is probably not going to be the first team unit going forward, which I am comfortable with. Also, some things we learned over the weekend. There were some. Oh, here's a guy going down my notes here. Kenyatta Jackson Jr. Keep the name in your head. He's probably going to make some great plays in a backup role early in the season. Might be a starter in the middle of the season. I'm just saying, if this man keeps making plays like he is, we might find that K-Jack might be on the field in a role being a starter for the Ohio State Buckeyes. I say K-Jack. I'm always looking for nicknames. And I wanted to call him Junior and Kenyatta Jackson Jr., but that name went to Dwayne Washington Jr. a few years ago when I first started covering the Buckeyes here for the Locked On Podcast Network. I wanted to give a nickname to somebody, and that went to Dwayne Washington Jr. Can't give two guys the same nickname on one show, so K-Jack goes to Kenyatta Jackson Jr., K for the first name, Jack for the beginning of his last name, so be it. So if you hear K-Jack on the show, it goes to Kenyatta Jackson Jr. He ended up having a sack on a speed rush during practice, and then also follow that up on the very next play with a nice textbook, as it was described, the bull rush in that practice. So keep hearing good signs, keep hearing reports of good play from K-Jack. And I'm just saying, I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't have no allegiances to anybody on the team. My allegiance is make the best player, the guy that plays all the snaps or the most snaps, make him a starter. And if K-Jack is the guy that is the best player opposite of Tuimoloau, put him on the field and let him cook. That's my allegiance. I have a job, and I want to make sure that people realize what I do and what I want to be, a guy that's real. I don't care about your name, who your mom is, who your daddy is, none of that. If you're the best player, let him play. And if K-Jack keeps doing what he's been doing, and if we see him on a Saturday do these things as well, buddy, let him cook. Don't take him out. Let him cook and let him do what he does best. So last but not least, Mayan Williams and Tyleik Williams, both of them missed the practice. Tyleik is still dealing with a knee injury that he suffered during the first practice. Mike Hall also got hurt during this practice over the weekend. After the injury that he suffered, he did not do any full speed drills during that practice. It's not fun, not good. Also, a little punt return information here on my notes. Guys that were practicing in punt return situations: Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaden Ballard, and Brandon Ennis. For those of you that are keeping up with guys that might be returning punts for your Ohio State Buckeyes in the fall. Not a guy who might be returning punts for the Buckeyes in the fall, but a player that might be returning punts for the Buckeyes in a few years. It is Jeremiah McClellen. He is the newest member of Ohio State's 2024 recruiting class. What made him a wanted man for Brian Hartline to go after him like he did? We'll find out next on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by our good friends at LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. It is free, quick, and easy to create a job post at LinkedIn Jobs. Once your job post is created, add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Boom! There's another one. There's another young man that has joined Ohio State's 2024 recruiting class. This young man is 4-star wide receiver, according to 247 Sports Composite Rankings, Mr. Jeremiah McClellen. Brian Hartline finds these guys. Brian Hartline goes after talented individuals consistently, and when you're able to go out there and get one, snag him when you can. Because you got schools out there like Missouri, schools out there like Oregon, Arizona State, and others who are trying to snag these services of all the talent they can in that particular recruiting class. And if you don't get them, somebody else can. And I mentioned those two schools in Missouri and Oregon. Normally, you don't put Missouri, Oregon, and Ohio State in the same conversation in recruiting. But Missouri is the in-state school, as Jeremiah McClellen comes from the state of Missouri, out of St. Louis, out of Christian Brothers College High School. And Oregon was the other school that was trying to get the services of Jeremiah McClellen. Now, you would think Ohio State already has all these talented wide receivers. They got some that came in: Noah Rogers, Bryson Rogers, Brandon Ennis, Carnell Tate. In the 2023 recruiting class, why go out there and get more, especially when you have Mylan Graham and Jeremiah Smith in the 2024 recruiting class? Because you got to keep stockpiling them, because you know at some point somebody's going to transfer. So you just got to keep going. Go after him. Go after him. Go after him. It's just what you have to do. Sitting at 6 foot even, 190 pounds, this young man is talented. Talented. He ended up having, I believe it was 41 receptions during his sophomore campaign, 989 yards and 9 touchdowns. Let me double check that number very quickly, as I do not want to misspeak when it comes to somebody's numbers. That was correct. 41 receptions during his sophomore year, 989 yards and 9 touchdowns. During his junior season just a year ago, 61 receptions, 1,103 receiving yards, 18 total touchdowns, 13 of them being receiving touchdowns. So you're having a guy that was really close to having back-to-back seasons of 1,000-yard seasons, really close in his sophomore campaign to having 10 receiving touchdowns as well. Talented, man. He's really good at catching the ball in traffic. That's one thing that when you think about a guy in high school, what is he good at? He's an outside receiver in high school, might be a slot in college, but no matter if he's going to be outside or inside, how well are you at catching the ball when somebody else is around you? I don't care if it's a guy on the outside and you're one-on-one and you're running a go route, or you're running a court, whatever it is. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you're running a quick slant across the middle. How good are you at catching a ball when somebody's right there on your hip pocket? Because at some point in college, especially during those grueling practices at Ohio State, where you're going up against some of the best DBs you will ever go up against in the entire season, how well do you do when somebody's on your hip pocket? because that's going to help Brian Hartline understand and Ryan Day understand and your quarterback understand, one, if you're ready, but two, if you're on the field, if you'll catch the ball. Like, these are things you may say, oh, this is not something I think about. But, buddy, you might want to think about these things in the future. One man, and I like looking at scouting reports on individuals, one man described him as projection a Power 5 starter. Not right away. Now, my guess is when he comes up, assuming he ends up signing a national letter of intent and becoming a Buckeye down the road, I think the thought is he might end up redshirting his first year, and then 2 years, maybe 3 years as being an Ohio State Buckeye. That'll be his time to potentially be a starter and to show the world, everybody in the shoe, what he can do when he's on the football field. And I say assuming he signs a national letter of intent because I understand we're excited about commitments, and I understand that we want everybody that makes a verbal commitment to stay at Ohio State. There's also the reality that Jeremiah Smith or Mylan Graham or Jeremiah McClellen, not saying that they're thinking about it right now. The reality is one of them might remove his verbal commitment, decommit, and commit somewhere else. It's just the nature of the beast. It's what comes with the sport, the nature of the sport. And when you constantly have people coming your way, this kind of stuff is going to happen or possibly happen. Now, an interesting thing about this young man is that his official visit to Ohio State, I believe, was on June 9th that weekend. A couple months after that, he's committing. So something stuck from that official visit and prior to meeting with Ohio State. Something stuck so much and in a strong way that even taking an official visit to Oregon June 23rd through 25th, nothing Oregon did at that time was good enough to detour him from committing to Ohio State. McClellan also took an official visit to LSU on June 2nd, and then also got an offer from Florida on March 16th. So it's not just it's Oregon, it's Missouri, it's Ohio State. There were other schools even in the past few months that were going after him. McClellan said, nah, I am a future Buckeye. That's huge. That is huge. I would not be surprised if Ohio State stuck with only 3. They're still going after talented wide receiver Chance Robinson out of Miami. So I'm looking forward to seeing, does Chance Robinson commit to Ohio State down the road, or do the Buckeyes only have these 3 individuals in their 2024 recruiting class? The Buckeyes currently have, I believe the number is 20 commitments, verbal commitments in the current recruiting class. And I love it. I love the number. I love what they're putting together. Looking to get some more guys on the defensive side of the ball. You got Justin Scott, 5-star D tackle. Some other guys on defense. You got in-state corners, Bryce West and Aaron Scott. You also have Garrett Stover, in-state linebacker. Some may say safety when he comes to school. That's going to be determined down the road. You also have Peyton Pierce at linebacker, Jalen McClain at safety, Miles Lockhart at corner. You're looking to get some more talented guys on Ohio State's defense, but the 3-headed monster of Jeremiah Smith, Mylan Graham, and Jeremiah McClellan, I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. I would also like to know, or I want some more news about Ohio State's quarterback competition, and that might be coming up later today. Why do I make that statement? I'll tell you next on Locked on Buckeyes. Thanks for making Locked on Buckeyes your first listen every single day. Now is the perfect time to subscribe to Locked on Buckeyes so you don't miss a beat. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Odyssey app, or the YouTube, coming at you 5 days a week on all platforms. Locked on Buckeyes, if you're at Apple, Spotify, Odyssey app, subscribe or follow whichever avenue the app requests you to make. Leave a 5-star review and a rating on Apple and Spotify. If you watch us on the YouTube, subscribe to the Locked on Buckeyes YouTube channel. Smash the like button on this video and hit that bell so you are notified every time a new video goes live. Locked on Buckeyes is a part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. And earlier, at the end of last week. Actually, I think it was a day ago, honestly. Thinking about things going on in my life at this point in time. There was a time when I thought Ryan Day's next press conference would be on Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, in just a few short days. Ryan Day would get back behind the podium, and he would discuss his reactions, answer questions from the media, maybe give an update on the quarterback competition and things like that. And then I saw this tweet. This actually came on Saturday now. A tweet from Tony Gerdeman of Buckeye Huddle. And he tweeted, I'm going to read it word for word because this is how it came across to me. I wanted it to come across to you in the same way it came back to me. And it kind of made me start speculating what is the reason for this move by Ryan Day. Quote, Ohio State moves Ryan Day's next media availability up from Wednesday to Monday. If you would like to speculate that this is related to the quarterback competition, I can't stop you. In fact, by even tweeting this, I'm almost encouraging it. How dare you accuse me of that, though, end quote. And so my first thought was, yes, my first thought as I am we all want the same answers. But there might be one question up top that is the ultimate answer that we're looking for. Who is going to be QB1 at Ohio State? Or maybe you're someone that says, who is going to be the starting quarterback for Ohio State week 1 against Indiana? Whichever way the question comes out, we all want to know who is going to be QB1. The only real answer we have is that there's 2 guys up for the job. Kyle McCord, Devin Brown. We all know that. That's kind of where things stop. We get reports. The competition is tight. It's back and forth for sure. A line that's come from Ryan Day. We all want to know when it's going to happen. And I'm speculating like you. I don't know the reason why Ryan Day is or Ohio State has moved Ryan Day's presser up from Wednesday to Monday. Is it something family related to where the Day family needs Ryan Day on a Wednesday for something very, very important? I don't know. Is there somebody coming in from the Day family to where they are going to come in and Ryan Day needs to be there? I don't know. Is it something with the quarterback competition? Possibly. Is it something that where, as one person speculated, I don't want to give the person to say the wrong name, so I want to hold back on that. But one person speculated and said maybe Ryan Day just wants to get up in front of reporting on the scrimmage that happened on Saturday so that the media is getting more answers about that than waiting a couple days later. I don't know. I literally have no idea. But my first thought is initially that it's about the quarterback competition, because why wouldn't it be? What benefit does it give Ryan Day if he knows who starting quarterback is going to be for him to wait until next weekend or a week from today to announce who QB1 is going to be? What benefit is it? You're playing the Indiana Hoosiers week 1. You should blow them out with Tristan Gebbia. It does not matter. Now, why am I saying Tristan Gebbia over McCord and Brown? He's your third-string quarterback. Your third-string quarterback, and Gebbia has won some games. He's going to start at Oregon State. So it's not me saying he's an incoming quarterback and Lincoln getting his first run in college football. Tristan Gebbia could go somewhere else in college football and start, maybe at a G5 level, maybe at a lower level, P5 level, but he could go somewhere and start. You should be able to beat the Indiana Hoosiers, who are a bad football team, who Tom Allen is probably coaching for his job in this season. You should be able to walk in there to Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, Indiana, and blow them out with first string, second string, third string. It should happen. It should. So what benefit is it really for Ryan Day? I know he doesn't want to show you his cards. I know he doesn't want to do this. I know he doesn't want to do that. I get all of those things. Just announce who the guy is, unless you truly don't know. And then there may be something where we're looking at the week of the game and Ryan Day has no idea who the starting quarterback is going to be. Then we might have a problem. Because I'm not a fan of the quarterback competition rolling into the regular season. I don't want to see what Michigan did a year ago, where you're starting one guy one week, and then starting the other guy the other week, and how the guys are evaluated. That is how the quarterback competition goes down. I don't want that. And honestly, it could get a little confusing. Imagine being the starting center and not knowing who you're going to be communicating with the quarterback. Now, maybe the advantage for Ohio State, maybe disadvantage, depending on how you look at it. Ohio State's having a new center in this upcoming season. Carson Hinsman, Jacob James, probably not Vic Cutler. One of those two guys are going to be the starting center. Maybe Vic Cutler could work his way in there. One of those three guys, let's just put them all in there, are going to be your starting center for the Buckeyes. And so if Ryan Day wants to wait to name a starting quarterback, great, cool, great. So be it. But let's just say you're working with the way the Buckeyes have been doing practice so far, it's really confusing as well. Using multiple O-lines in a quarterback competition that sometimes doesn't allow you to properly analyze the quarterbacks because of who the offensive linemen are that are in front of them and who the O-linemen are blocking, whatever it is. Let's say Ryan Day waits. Well, if you have a center, but your center doesn't know who the quarterback is, and he's trying to figure out literal verbiage in how the quarterback wants things on the field, it could take the Buckeyes a few series, maybe even a whole game to figure things out. No. If you know who the guy is, just make it clear. The luxury for Ryan Day. And I read this on 11warriors.com. The media was allowed, Ohio State media specifically, was allowed into the practice on Friday because the Big Ten Network was there. The Big Ten Network was going around the campuses around the Big Ten, doing their camp tour to preview the upcoming season. The media is not, as it stands right now, not going to be at any other practices during fall camp. So Ryan Day could easily run practices completely different without the media there and say, oh, you're QB1. We're not going to announce it until later. Okay, Ryan Day could. Or Ryan Day could make that announcement on a Monday today when he moved his presser up from Wednesday to Monday. I personally don't. Man, look. If your guy's a dog, get him out of. You could have announced it back in April. If your guy's a dog, it don't matter when you announced that he's QB1. He's gonna go out there and cook. Maybe Ryan Day is maybe a little uneasy about the quarterback competition. If it's really as close as it is, cool. But at some point, announce somebody and name them a starting quarterback. My thought is that I hope, not just for my sake, but for the players on the team, on that offense, that are hopefully going to be cooking week 1, week 2, and the rest of the weeks during this upcoming season, I hope they get an answer, at least internally, about who QB1 is at Ohio State. It would also be nice for all of us listening and watching if that announcement came during today's presser that has been moved up from Wednesday to Monday. Out of here on a Monday, coming back tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm going to get my guy Ryan Roberts back on the show. Also, going to keep giving you all the news coming out of Ohio State's fall camp, coming at you right here Monday through Friday on Locked on Buckeyes. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. Subscribe to Locked on Buckeyes on Apple, Spotify, and even the YouTube so you don't miss a beat. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, the Threads, wherever you find me on social at jstevens07. Send any email to jstevens317@gmail.com. If you want to connect with me off the show, email me. DMs are open on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, don't matter. Tweet at me. I'll be glad to have a back and forth with you as we inch closer to the start of the Buckeyes' quest to win a national championship during the 2023 college football season. We're out of here on a Monday. I'll see you next time.